Good day. In this video I'll be talking about filters in PHP. So filters are basically what you use in PHP to filter and validate data. So for example, if you have the following form and you want to validate that the age is actually a number, you use filters to do so. So let's go ahead and code this. So first, open a PHP tag and then check if the form is actually submitted. So you say if not empty and the post variable. Next, we can now validate each of these fields. So we say if not empty $_post and then the name of the field. Then we can use the ampersand operator to add additional conditions. So again, we need to check if the age is empty. It's not empty. And then the name attribute. Next, we check if this age is actually a number. So we use filters. To use filters, you call the FilterBar function, filter_var, and then the variable that you want to validate. So in this case, you want to validate the age, so we refer to it as this. And then the next argument is the ID, the ID of the validation that you want to use. So if you visit the PHP website, here are the validate filters that you can use. So let's look for the one that validates for a number. So this one, filter validate int. Copy this, and that's it. Next, we validate if the website is empty. So as you can see, it's getting quite long, so it's better if we move this down so that we don't need to scroll. Then we validate if this website is actually a URL. So again, we use the FilterBar function and then pass in the website. Then we look for the URL. So here it is. We just copy it. It says validates value as URL. Then lastly, we check for the email. So here we'll just pretend that the email is not required, so we won't check if it is not empty. But we're only going to check if it is a valid email if the user has inputted something in this field. So we check for the email. Here it is. Okay, that's it. Now if the condition didn't pass, you say that the form is invalid. And otherwise we say form is valid. Let's check if this is working. Okay, submit. Form is valid. Now let's try an invalid data. So the first thing that we need to do is bypass the client-side validation on this field. So when you submit it now, you will see that form is invalid. Now let's try to input a non-website, non-URL value in this field. Okay, so the client-side validation works because it now says that please enter URL. So now let's bypass the client-side validation by inspecting the element and then change the type. So here we're going to put it text. The same is true with the age, so we say text and then the email. Now if we try to submit, it should work. So but the server side would say that the form is invalid. So let's submit. Okay, so it's saying that the form is invalid. This means that our validation actually works. So that's what the filters are all about, but there's another kind of filter, which is the sanitized filter. So let's create another file and try to see what it does. Just like the validation filters, the sanitized filters also use the FilterBar function. So let's try to call it again, FilterBar, and then the variable that you want to use. So let's say we have the following: ABC123, and then the second argument is the ID. So let's say we want to strip out all the non-number values from this, so it should remove ABC. So to do that, we need to look for the sanitized filter. So here it is. We just copy it. It says that it will remove all characters except digits, plus and minus sign. So let's try. And now we assign this one to a variable. Then let's echo it out. So it should say -123 and then plus. Okay, so it works. So that's the difference between the validate filter and the sanitize filter. So the validate checks for a specific format and then it returns a boolean value. So if the variable that the user passed to the FilterBar function doesn't match the specific format which is specified in this second argument, it will return false. But if it matches, then it returns true. Then the sanitize filter only strips out the invalid values. So for example, in this one we have specified that the sanitize filter should be number and int, so it removes any value other than the one specified in this description. So let's try another one. So this one, filter sanitize string. So it says strip tags optionally strip or encode special characters, and then we have the following options that we can pass. Okay, let's try that now. So we say FilterBar and then a string, and the string contains HTML tags. Then we use the filter sanitize string. Okay, so we could actually directly echo out this one, so it should just return hello world and then strong. Okay, so it works. Let's try to view the source code just to make sure. Yep, there's no HTML tags in there. So an example real world scenario where you can use this filter sanitize string is, for example, when you ask the user to input something and then the user is actually a malicious one, so they input something like this script and then your app or something like that, then another script. So let's try to see what happens if we directly echo it out without using the FilterBar function. So it says you're hacked in a JavaScript alert. So it doesn't stop the user from using malicious JavaScript to access data from the current browser session. So that's how you can use the filter sanitize string. So as you can see, when we did not use it, it actually styled this string with a strong. So if you view it in the source, you can see that there's a strong tag, and the script was actually executed. So that's it for this video.